In May 1983, press reports indicated that a German escape submarine, according to the press of the time, German escape submarine had been found by a salvage vessel in the area of Florida, the Bahamas, and the Caribbean, as you know, and also that has to do with the triangle. The magazine, which was called at that time in the 1980s Neue Review, published a 2-page report. It was in issue number 19 on May 7th, 1983, with the title, The German Escape Submarine. Actually, they used the word N, but I don't want to use the word N, so the German Escape Submarine. They interviewed the American salvage contractor, whose name was Roger Miklos. This American salvage contractor claimed to have discovered a German submarine while searching for a Spanish treasure ship. As you know, there's plenty of people in those days who were searching for sunken treasure ships, especially Spanish ones, and this guy found a German submarine. So it was incredibly difficult to find the information first, they say, that the reporters say, but this mysterious informant, they told the man from Florida the following thing, that the Germans of the high ranks had made plans in case Germany lost the war. Specifically, documents, capital, and especially prominent Germans were to be able to escape to South America. Special submarines were designed for this purpose by them. So special submarines, I'm going to tell you now more about this because this is all public information and it's nothing new. And all these special submarines were designed specifically to escape and to go to South America. So this American salvage contractor, Miklos, gives no precise details about the location of his find, only saying south of the Bahamas, specifically on the Molasse Reef off the Turks and Caicos Islands. And he said that 2 years before this, in 1981, he already conducted research in that area. Now, there's something here about the report. So check this out. Between 1942 and 1943, so during the core of the Second World War, 9 German U-boats, 9 German submarines are said to have been lost in the Caribbean. This likely includes the mentioned submarine by the American salvage contractor. Now, whether all 9 actually sank is questionable. Possibly not all 9 sank, and the crews would also have been removed from the German naval record. So what happens is that the submarines disappear. They don't say if they sank or not, but the German crew, the men who are on those submarines, they're removed from the German naval records, as in like disappeared as well. And that's how the story of the last battalion was formed, because all of a sudden you know of German soldiers and German people who were alive, but they disappear, even off the records, right? Fascinating. Now, it is clearly false when post-war press reports or naval and submarine books claim or even indirectly convey the impression that the number of German submarines built as well as their fate are precisely known, and that all sinking data and the handover data of the unsunken submarines to the Allies are available in detail. So the information can be manipulated in many ways. In connection with with all this, there's like a 30-page table. Imagine a 30-page table which was made public with the title Fate of the German Submarines. And in that 30-page table, you find really awesome information from a guy called Franz Kurowski saying, of the submarines with numbers U 2111 to 2113, so that's 3, and then from U 2252 to 2295. These are 47 submarines, 47. Only the acceptance dates are known. So the dates where they were accepted to have been disappeared. We don't know their fate. And all the dates for these 47 U-boats, some German submarines, of the acceptance dates of the disappearance are between July and August of 1944. 47 disappeared, their fate unknown, in between July and August 1944. Now, nothing is known about the whereabouts of these 47 submarines. Other publications don't even mention these boats. So there's official publications about the military aspects. They don't even mention the 47 U-boats, as if like, don't mention them. We don't know. End of the story. We know they existed, but let's not mention it because it's not interesting for people to check this out. And they're not found in the Allied sinking lists or capture records. So the Allies have put public information. There's no sinking lists where they appear or capture. They say, oh, we captured them when they're now in our possession. Now, there's a NASA physicist, there was a NASA physicist, the physicist that was working for NASA, called Dr. Jonathan Wright. He was the head of a special UFO research department, UFO, at the American Space Agency, NASA. He had previously worked on the UFO study conducted by the University of Colorado on behalf of the US Air Force. In December 1970, imagine, December 1970, 25 years after the war, he and his team were ordered to the Bahamas area because NASA was constantly being visited by UFOs originating from this area, from the Bahamas. Now you understand the whole thing about the Bahamas Triangle in the Caribbean and stuff, with electromagnetism and stuff. At Cape Kennedy, Florida, which was later named to Cape Canaveral, UFOs were seen in the sky during American rocket launches, which were the rocket launches for the experimentation of rockets. Wright, this NASA physicist, Dr. Wright, stated, at the control center at Cape Kennedy, now Cape Canaveral, we repeatedly received strange electronic signals at launch times. Our instruments indicated that they originated from this area, from the Bahamas Caribbean area. After completing his research, he told the press, there is no doubt about it. We have clear evidence that UFOs regularly land on a tiny island about 50 miles from the Grand Cayman Island in the Caribbean. Strange things were happening all along the southern border and coast of the USA. If you consider what I've told you about the Mapimi Desert in Mexico, to the Caribbean area, to Florida, and the infamous Bermuda Triangle, which is located just offshore of Florida, right? Which is where they said, oh, German submarines and UFOs, of course, of German origin, and maybe something else as well. Now, in the Bermuda Triangle in those days, in the 1980s, more than 120 ships and aircraft were registered to have already disappeared inexplicably, mostly without leaving any trace, just disappeared completely. And also UFOs, plenty of unidentified flying objects seen over the Bermuda Triangle. The lengthy report, which is called UFO Base off the coast of Florida, which came out in May 1971, imagine what kind of days, 1970s. They details the investigations of the NASA team, and there's also books written in the 1970s about those topics, about the UFOs and the Bermuda Triangle. And there's misleading explanations as always. And what happened afterwards, after the 1970s, every single time, and as you can see what happened with YouTube, right? And once the 1990s started with the .com websites boom and stuff, everybody was so hot about the topic of aliens and extraterrestrials, but nobody wanted to talk anymore about the Germans and the German submarines and the German engineering of electric flying vehicles. Super important. At least now you know a bit more about what happened in the 1970s and 1980s, and everything has to do always with German submarines and Germans' electric magnetic flying vehicles, which we call UFOs.